Hey, it's Alexis, and today is day 3 of Bookmas, and I thought that it would be fun to set up my reading journal for 2026. First, we will flip through my reading journals for 2025. There's 2 of them because I lost one halfway through the year, so I restarted another one and then found the original. That was fun. But we're going to flip through those, see what I did, look on Pinterest, try to find a few more ideas, and then we'll start setting up the new one. I'm still trying to decide if I want to use this purple. This looks really bad in this lighting. This is purple, I promise. Or this is blue. I still don't know which one I'm going to use yet, so we're trying to figure that out. Then I also have washi tape to use in the journal. We have this tape glue thing. Still don't really know what it is. It says permanent. Then we got a pair of scissors in case I need to cut something out. Ruler and a pencil for drawing straight lines and markers. So let's set up and decorate my journal for 2026. Okay, I thought that it would be fun to flip through my journals and then we'll get started on the new one. So this was the first journal that I started before I lost it. So I used stamps to create this title page. And then for my second one, I did just markers and stencils. I don't know which one I like better. So we might not do the title page today until I decide, but we'll see. Anyway, I turn the page and I put this reading log sticker thing here. My plan was to color in all the books. See, I started it, but never continued. It is what it is. Then over here, I had the 25 books I wanted to read in 2025. Spoiler alert, I did not complete this. I actually ended up getting rid of almost all of these books on this list. So then I had my goals. I still want to do this in this year's journal, but I have a little bit of a different design idea in my head. So I just wrote out all my goals for reading. Then this is my star rating. And I think I'm going to keep this, but maybe change it up a little bit in this year's journal. Well, I guess this upcoming year's journal. And then this is the DNF graveyard where I was supposed to keep track of all the books I DNF this year, but as you can see, I fell behind. If you've been watching this channel, you know I've DNF'd a lot this year. Then we have my reading tracker. So my goal this year is 85 books. At the time of filming this, I'm at 78. So hopefully I can reach my goal. And I was just coloring in the boxes as I read a book. I want to keep this as well, but I don't know if I want to do the box method again or if I want to try to draw books. I see people like draw a bookshelf and color in the books that way. I don't know what's going to be better for me. And then here's my reading stats. So the books, or the amount of books I read per month, the pages I read per month, and then how many of each type of book did I read. So how many physical, digital / ebooks and audiobooks. Just trying to keep track of that just for myself. It's not like necessary. It's just something I wanted to keep track of. Then I thought it could be fun to do a reading challenge. So I was going to do like a bingo card, but I think that this year I'm going to change it to like a bucket list and it's going to fill both sides. So this was just like corresponding with it. So listen to an audiobook was this one. A book with a one-word title was here. So like I obviously didn't even keep up with this. I'm sure there's more that I could have crossed off but didn't. Then we have my rainbow book challenge and I didn't fill this in either. But my goal was every time I read a book with one of these covers, I was going to print out a cover, like a little picture cover of the book and put it here, but I didn't get to that. This was my A to Z challenge this year. This is what I wanted to do for the previous page, was print these out and put them there when I read them. For this list, I also got rid of a lot of these books. That's the ones with the X's on it. So didn't do good on completing this challenge either, but there's always next year. So this was my 25 books for 2025 list again. This time I just printed out the covers. Again, got rid of a lot of these books. Then we have my series tracker. So I put the title of the series and then however many books there are in the series and then just colored them in as I read them. So I think I'm going to keep this again because I did keep up with this. And then I had a second page just in case I started more, which I did. So then we had a 2025 new releases page. So we had January through June where I just wrote in the books that were coming out that month I wanted to buy. And then I just didn't keep up with it again. So then I printed out on sticker paper a little page for each month. I think this year I'm just going to draw myself I'm not a good drawer, but we're going to see what I can do. And then I had like my TBR over here. Then the books I actually read, I was going to write down all the videos I posted, but didn't do that either. And then the books I bought each month, I was keeping track of that. And I did that for every month. So then this was what February's looked like. So there was that one. And then I think this is like pretty much looking the same, because whenever I lost this one, I just wanted to start over so that I had it. So then I had the goals again, the rating, the graveyard, the tracker, the rainbow book challenge that I still didn't fill out in this one either. Then we had the series tracker again. This time when I did the new releases, I just wrote them out, and I think I liked this a lot more than the way I had it in here. So I think I'm going to stick with this. Then I printed out my physical TBR and on sticker paper and just stuck it in here. All the ones that are like crossed out with lines is the books I ended up unhauling this year, which if you guys have been around this year, you know it was a lot. And then like the little check marks are the ones I actually read. And I think this was 8 pages long, so I don't think we'll need this many pages this year, but we'll see. And then this is what I did for January, and I think this is like the type of thing I want to do in my journal this year. And then I was just going to do the same thing that you saw in that one, but never ended up finishing this. So that's what I got for this year's journals. I did a terrible job keeping up with them. So my goal is to do better next year. So I think I'm going to use this bluish gray color for this year's journal. I also have this washi tape to use in here to kind of decorate it a little bit better. I went ahead and printed out my physical TBR papers and cut them up last night, so we're going to tape these in here. And I do have 2, well that's not that one, but I have these 2 that are blank, so we can add more whenever I inevitably buy books because we know it's going to happen. And then we also have brand new markers to use to decorate. And I have all of my stencils over here, and I also have my ruler because we like to keep things nice and straight lined. And then my little tape glue thing, whatever you want to call that. Oh, I also have some sticker paper here in case I need to print out something like book covers or something. Let's just go ahead and start creating this year's reading journal. Okay, so it's been a couple days since I finished filling out my journal. I wanted to sit on it for a few days and make sure I like it before I showed you guys. So this is the title page. It says Alexis Reading Journal 2026. This washi tape is here because whenever I was using my stamps, I tried to put the A in journal and used a G upside down. That was my bad. So I fixed it. And this, I wrote 2025 because I'm not used to saying 2026. So it was already messed up on the first page, but that's who I am. So here we are. Then we have this goals page. I found this idea on Pinterest and thought it was really cute, so I wanted to try to recreate it. It's like an envelope with a piece of paper coming out of it, and it's got my goals for the year. These are my reading goals. So we have read 100 books, read 50% of my TBR, listen to audiobooks, read daily, even if it's 5 pages. DNF if I'm not liking books. I am not making myself push through any books this year. Try new genres and try to read 5 classics. Then we have my star ratings. So if I give a book 1 star, that means it's unenjoyable. It has unlikable characters and I will never recommend it. 2 stars is not the worst thing I've ever read, but it's still unenjoyable. 3 stars is average. It was good. I would recommend it, but it's not a favorite. 4 stars, I highly enjoyed it. We'll talk about it and we'll recommend it. And 5 stars is my new favorite book. I will highly recommend it. I will reread it and I love it. Then this page we have the DNF graveyard. So I'm going to put the titles of books that I end up DNFing, and I left space to make more graves if I need to. This page is my yearly reading statistics. So each month I'm going to put the amount of books that I read. These circles are going to represent the page numbers for each month. And then this is going to be how many physical books I read, how many ebooks, and how many audiobooks each month. My goal is 100 books this year. So I printed out this picture that is like the 100 book challenge. And I just printed it out twice just in case I surpassed this goal. I'm not thinking that's going to happen, but just in case, I made sure I had the space for it if it did. And I'm just going to color in a book every time I read one. Then we have the 26 books I want to read in 2026. I already have those picked out, so now I just need to go in and write the titles here. And then I will color it in as I read those books. But I just drew like a little bookshelf. I'm not the best artist, so sorry if this is not the best. Next I have, I think, 4 pages, or I guess 8 technically if you're like 1 and 2, but I was just counting it as a spread. So we have 8 pages for my reading log, and every time I finish a book, I'm going to put the title, the author, and the star rating, just so I can keep track of what books I read this year. Like I said, these are going to be the same thing. I just didn't fill them out yet. And then I think there's also 8 pages for 2026 new releases. I think I'm going to like print the pictures of the books out and just put them in here when I get them. So there's 8 pages of that. Then we have my series tracker. So this is every series that I'm currently in the middle of. So we have the Grandest Game series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. There's 3 books announced so far, and I've read 1. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. There's 4 books, if you count the novella, and I read the first book. The Villain series by Serena Valentino. There's 13 books, and I read 3. The Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score. There's 3 books, and I read 2. The Disney Twisted Tales series. I think there's 26 books, something like that. And I've read 6. I need to get on that one. Then we have the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. There's 3 books and I read 1. The Vacation Mystery series by Catherine Mack. There's 3 books announced. The 3rd one comes out in 2026. And I've read the first 2. And we also have the Ruinous Love trilogy by Bryn Weaver. There's 3 books and I've read 1. And then there's still some space here in case I start a new series. And then I also gave myself just an extra spread in case I needed it. This is going to be a page for any of the rereads I do this year. And just that way I can keep track of what books I'm actually rereading. And this spread's going to be for every book that I give a 5 star in 2026. This is an idea that I thought was really cool. So I drew a library card. And then any book I read from the library, whether it be like a physical library book or through Libby, I'm just going to put them on these pages. I just think that'll be fun. Then I have 3 of these spreads for every book I bought. And this is going to be any book that I buy or am given in 2026. I'm going to list it here and then mark it off if I read it. Then we also have my, did not mean to do that. But then we have my physical TBR. So I typed out and printed every book on my physical TBR, and I left a little checkbox here so I can just check them off as I go. And so we just have a few pages of that. And then we have some extra space on this one. And then I also just printed out 2 more blank ones just in case I buy more books so that they can be added there too. Then we have a bookish bingo page. So I just came up with 25 different prompts. And I'm just going to like mark them off as I read a book that fits the prompt. And I think that on this page, instead of like drawing a line through these, I think I'm going to print off the book cover and just put them in the order over here that they correlate over here. It made more sense in my head, but I don't know how to really portray that till it happens. And then I started on my January spread. So this is like the introduction page. Over here, this is where I'm going to put my TBR. So I have 6 different color backgrounds, and I'm just going to print out the picture of the cover of the book and put them here when I do my January TBR. And then this is going to be the January wrap-up page. So over here is going to be, again, the book covers of the books that I read. I'm going to put how many books I read here, mark off if I read every day in the month, the amount of pages read, and then a category of like what genres I read. I just think that'll be fun. And that's all I did in here, because then I'm just going to start keeping track monthly after that. That is my 2026 reading journal. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me make this, and let's hope I can actually stick to it and complete a full journal this year. Let me know if you guys are making journals, and hopefully we can keep ourselves accountable to reach our goals this year. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 4 of Bookmas. Have a great rest of your day.